Welcome to episode 3 of our podcast. It officially has a name.
Yes. Oh, we've never announced the name before.
It's from Blended to Besties.
Yes.
The past couple times before, we pre-filmed a lot of them before we were actually uploading them.
Yes.
We had some technical difficulties, and we didn't have a name before. So, welcome to From Blended to Besties.
Make sure the microphone is attached. We did not.
Did you?
We're good. Yeah, it's good.
That actually happened to us one time, actually too soon. It's almost a year, remember? We were doing a
Halloween.
It was a drunk Halloween makeup tutorial, and Tiffany forgot to plug in the microphone, so we did the entire tutorial.
Before you blame me, though, you were the one who gave me the shots. So you gave me shots.
It was a drunk tutorial.
Then I drunkly was like, let's set up the camera, and then I forgot to turn on the microphone.
I love that for you.
So that was on you.
That video was so funny, too.
Good times.
Anyway, speaking of, it is Halloween this weekend. If you guys are new here, we are the Moms of Tampa. I forgot we have to introduce ourselves.
Oh, yes. We are the Moms of Tampa. I'm Tiffany. I'm the stepmom.
And I'm Megan. I'm the bio mom. I was once married to her husband. We are divorced, and we co-parent some kids. We became friends through healthy co-parenting, and here we are.
Yes.
Welcome to From Blended to Besties. So we were going to start off by talking just about, what we're doing this weekend. We're still kind of trying to figure this out. It was never in the plan to have a podcast.
Actually, I think it was a definite no. When we talked about it, like a podcast, we were both like, nah, no. And then we did it anyways.
No, we've been asked to do a podcast for probably like 6 or 7 months now. And we just kept saying no. We just have too much on our plates. But I like it. It's chill. We're just talking to each other. It's like how we would be talking to each other on the couch. You don't feel the need to like perform in front of people.
Yeah, it's different, I think, than everything else that we've been doing. But still trying to get used to all of this, how we're doing all of this and stuff. But I know it's going to be very weird. Every time I accidentally press the Blended to Besties on Spotify, I'm like, no. I'm just not ready to like hear myself. No, I have not.
Girl, I listened to us in the shower this morning.
I just feel like I don't know. First of all, hearing my voice drives me insane as it is, and then just like hearing it, all I could be is just like, oh my god. I'm so shy. I'm shy, and like knowing that that's us, and we're not even filming live or anything, still makes me shy.
Yes, it's on the internet forever.
Yeah.
We filmed, episode 2 was the one that we did on discipline. We filmed that like a month ago, so I forgot. I remembered that I liked it. I just couldn't remember exactly what it was. Yes. So we're actually starting to catch up now. Girl, did I say this was episode 3?
I don't know.
You
said our name. 3. You said our name. This is episode 3.
No, it's not.
It's not?
Girl, I think this is episode 4.
What's the third one then? Because I don't got a third one.
You're lying.
No.
Huh.
We have 2 on the podcast. We only have 1 on YouTube because discipline got messed up. So this is technically 3.
Maybe you're right.
I'm going to just let everyone know we are not good at math. And as long as y'all know that, we will figure it out. I know this could be 3 or 4.
We'll have it in the title. And if it's 4, then, I apologize. But whatever. Yeah. Anyway, this weekend's Halloween. This is technically our first blended Halloween. We're all going together. I was talking on live the other day. People were asking if we had done blended Halloweens before. And I was telling them no because last year was COVID.
Yeah.
So I had the kids last year and we just trick-or-treated around the house. Before that, we lived almost an hour apart from each other.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we just had Michael.
It seemed kind of silly to drive over to one person's house, an hour or 2 for trick-or-treating. When they had school the next day, we had work the next day. So we just kind of kept it separate. But we live, 20 minutes apart from each other now. So I'm super excited.
I know. I think it's going to be fun. And the fact that it's not going to be hot also makes me even more excited.
I know! I'm super excited for that.
Because we need that. We need some real fall vibes. Like, sweating in costumes is just not what I'm used to. Like, being from New York, like...
I know.
I remember, like, having to wear a jacket over my costume because it was so cold. And I was like, but they're not going to see my princess dress! And you got Michael huffing and puffing in his like ninja costume. I'm like, he's gonna pass out of heat stroke and we're not gonna know. We can't see if his face is white or not because his face is covered.
I know. What sucks is like all the Halloween costumes are like long sleeves and like padded and stuff.
Yeah.
So you're dying
that
here
makes
in Florida.
it even worse.
So I'm super excited. They actually get to wear Halloween costumes. It's gonna be, I think, in like the upper 60s or lower 60s, upper 50s. Okay. It's really nice today. Have you been outside today?
Girl, it was cold this morning when I took Michael to school. It was 65. Really?
Girl, I didn't leave my house until I came here.
I had the heater on.
Damn, I did. I should have put my house up.
I got to the school and then, quickly needed that heater to come back off because it was too much. Too much. But no, it's been good. It's starting to be good weather time. I'm getting excited.
Yes. So anyway, are we looking at the camera or are we not looking at the camera?
I do both. I think, I don't know. I do like a little column A, little column B.
I guess we can, since it is going to be up on YouTube. Hi.
Yeah.
I'm not, so a lot of people think I look at Tiffany because I'm like in love with her or something, and that's not what it is. We had the agreement to look at each other and talk, which is why I was looking at her. She did not understand the assignment. And second, in videos and stuff, I'm just awkward and don't know what to do. So I'm looking at you instead of like trying to look at the camera.
For real though. I think because so the whole thing, like on social media, you're like flirting with the camera a little bit because it's an audience that you don't see. And it's so funny because you try to flirt with the camera, but you end up looking at me so it looks like you're flirting with me.
I know.
And everyone's like, Megan's secretly in love with her.
It's just weird, like, looking at a camera. You're, like, a tangible person. I can look at you, and I act,
normal-ish.
Yeah, I'm doing air quotes if you guys can't see me, but it's easier to act with somebody rather than, like, stare at the camera. So I'm always looking at you, plus it gives me something to do, so I'm less awkward, and it's just, I don't know, it is what it is.
It's okay. You can tell the whole world you're secretly in love.
Like, when I went on live the other day, and instead of
love with my ex's new wife.
I was trying to do like a clickbait, and this is why I cannot do clickbait. I went to put live with my ex-husband's wife, but it ended up being love with my ex-husband's wife. Oh, so
really told the whole world.
And then your freaking sister screenshotted it and sent it to me, and I was just like, wow, Gabby, thank you.
That was perfect.
Shout out to Gabby.
Thank you. 10 out of 10.
So today's topic, we are talking about unspoken boundaries. People ask us all the time, what are your boundaries? We do have boundaries. But yeah, we're going to be discussing those today. Boundaries, I have with my ex-husband, boundaries we have together, boundaries we have with the kids, and then unspoken boundaries, which, mom to stepmom.
Yes.
Unspoken boundaries, which I think are common sense.
Yeah, I say all the time that it's common sense boundaries because it's something that you really don't even have to wonder or have to ask or even speak about. Like, it's common sense. Like,
I know. It's so hard.
So out there, and it's just like you would be closed-minded and clueless if you just didn't know that was a boundary. I mean, we discussed it when we were talking on the phone when we were talking about wanting to do this podcast. Like, there's just certain things that you should know as a human being that it is a boundary. There should be it should not even be up for discussion.
Exactly. But it's crazy how many people just, like, don't understand that.
I think people think we have a friendship. We have co-parenting and our friendship. And because we're best friends and we're co-parenting, that we throw boundaries out the window. Like, that just because we're friends, we don't have to have boundaries. And I think that's why we get at people asking us so many times, like, how do you do that? And it's just like you do with any other friendship, with any other person you meet.
It's like, even with my friends, I mean, we have boundaries. You don't have to make it, like, they're unspoken boundaries. Like, it's common sense, like.
Yeah. Oh, like when people ask all the time, they're like, do you ever, like, get uncomfortable if, like, Megan is by herself, like, with your husband? Like, does it ever make you nervous? I'm like, if I'm nervous that, Megan is alone with my husband, I should be nervous that my husband is alone with anyone then. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Like, that's an issue in general. That wouldn't be just one specific person. But it's like, no, like, and they specify to you, it's like, you should be asking me, am I uncomfortable with my husband being with anyone then? It shouldn't matter if it's Megan or anyone, just Megan. Like, you're not the exception. I know. No offense. But you're not. Like,
it's a no for me, dog.
It's everyone or it's no one. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, Mike can hang out with, like, a bunch of girls. I wouldn't care. But if it's Megan, it's a big no. Like, her, hell no.
It's so funny.
That makes no sense.
I think we should start with what we talked about on the phone was, like, mom boundaries versus stepmom boundaries. So a lot of the reason why Tiffany and I get along so well is, again, like, Tiffany and I have never sat down and we're like, okay, these are the boundaries. It's literally common sense to both of us, and just, I don't know how else to say it. It's common sense. I mean, it's common courtesy, common sense, respect.
And the big thing is respect. I think it is, because we hear these stories of all these horror stories with stepmoms, and just, what is it that someone said the other day? It was a comment that you responded to. Over parenting. Someone said over parenting, and you were like, what do you mean by over parenting?
Yeah. I hate when people say that.
People get confused because it's like, well, like, what do you let, or so, that the person on Instagram that they said, do you let Tiffany, like, do any, like, school activities or call and check up on the child? And it's like, well, it depends. Like, I'm not blowing up the school. That'd be really...
Oh my God, way to stop. Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
I heard myself and I was like, that sounded wrong. I meant blowing up, like, the school's phones, like, constantly asking, like, what is the child doing? What is going on? What's happening? Like,
well, we should backtrack on that. If we're going to talk about that specific instance, there was a woman who messaged us. She was a stepmom.
I believe so.
Or, no, they weren't even, were they married? I think she was.
It was a very vague comment, so
yeah,
I don't even know.
She messaged me.
Yes.
Asking for my opinion. She was saying that the other mom, the bio mom, didn't feel comfortable with her checking in on the kid at school throughout the day and stuff like that. And what was my opinion on it?
And how would you feel if someone said that it wasn't okay for me to do it? Because she specifically said, like, how would you feel about me doing it?
Yeah.
And I think you had responded, like...
Again, and I don't even think I did respond to her.
Oh, I think you responded to me.
I responded to you. And I think that's what brought up this whole thing. Boundaries. Okay, so Tiffany and I had a discussion about it, and this is kind of like how we talk to each other about it. There's a lot that goes into it. It's a very loaded question. How long have you and the stepmom been together? Or the dad been together?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know... Why, my question was, why do you feel the need to check in on the kid at school?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't call and check in on my kids at school. Like, why do you feel like you need to call and be checking in on the kid at school? Is it like a power move? Is it a... You know what I mean? Like, that's...
What's going on that makes you want to do that? And if it's something that you want to do... Why isn't the mom wanting to... Not everyone has to call and check up on the kid, first of all. There shouldn't be 4 people calling if there are 4 people. And, like, if the mom is doing it, you shouldn't have to. But if you feel like you need to and the mom's not doing it, why?
Yeah, I mean, like, that's one thing that I didn't understand. Because I couldn't see you just randomly calling and... Again, and then we brought up, you know, if Michael wasn't feeling good that day, you know, like calling and checking up on him or, you know, but I just don't see a reason that you're getting upset because if it's not something that I would do or his dad would do, like, why do you feel like you need to call and be checking up on the kid at school?
Exactly.
So I think just things like that, you know, unspoken boundaries. I mean, I don't know.
That got us into talking about how... You know, like, with the whole registering the child for school, like, I'm not going to be like, well, I'm the stepmom, so I should be able to do it. Like, you've been doing it. That's fine. Good enough. I don't even know how to do it.
I told you could do it, girl. Take your head in. You can do it next year.
But, like, there's that boundary that it's like, yes, we're both considered moms to Michael, but there's just some things that you get to do as the bio mom that I don't get to, and why would I fight you over that? Like, what? First of all, that's going to make your life difficult to be, like, having to challenge your own title and your own position with someone else who didn't essentially get that title to begin with. Just seems like a battle, and you have to know your place in that instance. Like,
yes. Knowing your place, I mean, it sounds bad to say it, but...
But it's true!
It is true. I mean, it is what it is. It's like an unspoken boundary. Again, there are things that, you know, mom and dad should have dibs on. You know, and I mean, it's not saying that you're any less or anything like that because you know that you're not. You know, I've never treated you like that. But, you know, they're my kids. You know, you only get one shot with them growing up. and they're your kids too, but there are some things that, you know, I mean, I only have them 50% of the time. You know, there are good things that's going to happen at your house that I'm going to miss out on, but the things that I can control, you know, I would like to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, we brought up, like, when they do those family, the Thanksgiving things, if they ever did it where only a mom and dad can attend, like, why would I fight, or why would Travis and I fight for those positions if only a mom and dad can be there? That's that, like, special experience that you guys get to have, and, like, why would we take it away? Because if we're having it, then you're not able to experience it, and it's something that it's going to be the first time you get to experience it, or, you know, it's not like they do it multiple times. Thanksgiving's only once a year, so, like, you have to know to just take a step back and be respectful of it. It's not something to be fighting over.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Those things where they do only have, you know, a certain amount of slots, but being where we're at now, because we do have mutual respect for each other and we've come such a long way, you know, I, you know, love you and respect you so much. So if there was like a field trip or something and I went to the last field trip and, you know, I know that you want to go because, you know, you haven't been on a field trip, I'm more likely to, you know, be like, hey girl, you know, why don't you go? I went to the last one.
Why don't I surround myself with 30 kids for a whole day? Yay!
But, you know, it comes from respect. Like, I know at the end of the day, she respects me as the bio mom. I know she's not going to fight me on certain things, and it's a respect thing. And so since I feel respected, I'm going to turn around and respect her.
I think that's the biggest thing, too, is just understanding, like, I said it time and time again on a bunch of my lives, like, you didn't have to share your mom title and position with me. You could have easily taken it selfishly, like many women tend to do, and it could have been a battle and it could have been difficult, but you don't. You share it. So to be grateful to be able to experience this alongside you is one thing, and then the second part is to also know when, like, you want your own mom moments and your mom time, and, like, I have to see that and respect that you're sharing your time with me, but you don't have to share everything with me, and that's okay.
No, I agree.
You can't take everything as a step parent and be like, well, I want it all. Like, no, like, be grateful that there is a parent there who's willing to step aside and allow you to experience it, because your life could be a lot difficult, and don't take it for granted.
I agree. 1000%. There was something else I wanted to say too. What was it?
That you actually want to spend a whole day with 30 kids, and you want to do that every single time, because girl, there's a field trip coming up next Friday, and I saw that email.
Saw that they wanted volunteers. I was like, I gotta watch Bryce. I'm busy.
I was actually gonna text you and be like, if you want me to pick up Bryce, I got you, girl. That's one child.
Oh my gosh. No. Yeah. So, girl, I'm not trying to go to that. Especially fit girl. They're gonna be talking about Fortnite and doing dances and stuff. It's not like cute little 4-year-olds. It's
they're
like,
getting older now.
Oh, I can't. But again, you know, we do have, you know, other boundaries in place. Like,
you have boundaries as well. Like, I don't want anyone to think that it's always, you know, stepmom is having the boundaries, that it's limiting yourself. Like, we've discussed on live where, you know, when Michael's over here, I'm the one who implements the rules, and you have to take a step back and be like, not my turn, or not. I keep forgetting that we're doing a podcast, so I can't just do movements. I have to actually talk. But you step back and you tell Michael that, you know, it's Tiffany, you have to listen to Tiffany, whereas, like, you give and you take. You can't have it both ways.
No, I mean, I want him to be, one, a respectful adult.
Yeah.
And two, I want him to respect his mothers, obviously. And, I mean, he needs to not just, whenever he gets in trouble and I'm there, just look at me and see, like, do I actually have to listen to her? Like, absolutely, You're in her house. This is her time. If you guys didn't catch our podcast on discipline, it's in the previous one. That's how a lot of our disciplining goes. It's who house he's in, because we do week to week.
Yes.
Has, like, the upper hand, basically. And the other one falls back and is like, you know, it's what he says goes, you know?
I mean, we've had people who have replied to our stuff that they say that what... I need to start saving all these, like, messages that I remember forever, but I forget the general part. That she said she was a stepmom, and that whenever the bio mom was around for, like, events, I think it was a sporting event that they were at, she would tell the stepson to do something, and her mom would be like, you don't have to listen to her if you don't want to.
Oh.
And it's like, that's so rude, because you're really showing the child that it doesn't matter. it's not even on your time. Like, I get they're doing the whole joint, like, sports together, but to tell your child, like, I'm here now, so you don't have to listen to her, is so... Like, how do you benefit out of that? How do you see anything positive for that? You're teaching your child such a bad example that is going to bite you in the end.
And could you imagine? She's going to be one of those mother-in-laws from hell, I can tell. You don't have to listen to your wife. You can listen to me.
Yeah, that's just, like, so rude. Like, you're showing your child that, you know, people's feelings don't matter, first of all, because you're doing it right to her face. And if she has the audacity to fight back, like I would, now she's going to be seen as, like, that mean stepmom who's fighting with the mom. And now you're just, like, creating this monster that shouldn't have been there to begin with. Like...
Yeah. It's... You and I had a conversation about, you know, creating an environment where he feels safe no matter what house he's at. And, you know, like, there's some times where, you know, when he's away from me, you are the mom. You are the mom that he has. I don't live in this house. He's with you. So he has a healthy mother figure around him 24/7. So when he's with Tiffany, you know, she is his mom. She creates that safe space to, you know, have that motherly figure. And of course, you know, you never want your child to feel uncomfortable in the other kid's household. In the beginning, that was a huge fear of mine because, you know, Mike works a lot. You want, you know, your child to feel safe and loved all the time. So she does a great job of obviously being a mother, but creating that safe space that I know that he's safe, loved, cared for. You know, he's not lacking motherly, you know.
And I think that's anything. What people are forgetting. All these people who say, like, I would never let my child call, you know, the spouse or whatever, mom or dad or whatever. And it's like, but you don't have your child all the time. And don't you want them to be able to have that, to have, you know, parents not to be, you know, sitting at their dad's house being like, I wish I had, like, a mom figure. Yes, you know, I know some mom would be like, well, he could just call me up and I'll be there. But you can't. Like, you decided to divorce. You decided to co-parent. You can't be there for every single moment. Make sure the kid doesn't feel like it's alone.
And no one's saying...
alone. I can't. Like, he's alone.
And no one's saying she's trying to replace you. No one's saying, you know, mothers... And I think that's a whole other thing is, you know, like... If you have a secure relationship with your children, I literally told someone on Instagram this today, like, I'm very confident in my relationship with my kids. Like, I'm a great mom. They know I'm a great mom. They love me. I know that, you know, they know I love them.
They know you are their mom.
They know I am their mom. I am not threatened at all. And you know, I mean, again, let me say this because I think we've said it in past podcasts, but I'm not sure. We were not like this when we were younger. You know, I'm 31, Tiffany's 27. We've definitely grown a lot, and I've matured a lot as I've gotten older. And, you know, just revisiting, you know, how things were growing up and wanting to be different. It's just, why would you not? I just don't understand. Like, why would you not want this for your child? Like, why would you not want them to be loved all around, especially if you're not there all the time? Like, encourage the relationship with the other parent, you know, the stepdad or the bio mom, you know, like, it I don't know. It really just, like, boggles my mind.
It creates that healthy boundary, a whole different set of boundaries between the kid and the parents to understand that it's like, we're not together, but that's okay, and just, what is it? I'm trying to think of the specific words. Don't show them that they're lacking anything. Just show that, you know, you guys didn't work out, but they're not being affected by it in any other way. If anything, they're just going to get more people to love them, more people to be with, you know, be there for them. And the boundaries that you set with them with their parents The boundaries you set with them with the step-parents also teaches them how to be with other people in general. Because then you're going to have them growing up being like, I can respect certain people and other certain people I don't have to respect. That's not the mindset you're going to try to teach them. And these people are going to be in their lives just as much as you are. And I don't think some people realize that when they say, like, I don't want that person to be considered a parent or that person isn't a parent. that person's raising your child.
I know.
Just like you are when you're not there. Like, how is it that you get to do the same tasks and duties that this parent gets to do, but they're not a real parent because they didn't give birth to the child?
And you're expecting, your children to be respectable, kids who are, who act right and everything, but when they go over to their dad's house, you're telling them they don't have to listen to their stepmom, and their dad's a piece of shit. So when they're over at their dad's house 50% of the time, or, every other weekend, or whatever your agreement may be, that kid's running crazy.
Yeah.
You don't think that's going to affect them long term? Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't get it.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. Like, anyone that the child comes in contact with is going to shape them and help them grow and be who they are. So if you do have someone who's going to be a constant, like, you need to set up those boundaries. You need to make sure that it's going to be create that parenting plan that you always dreamed of. If it was supposed to be the two of you and it's not anymore, create it with the three of you. Create it with the four of you. So at the end of the day, your child is growing up exactly how you wanted them to. Maybe with not just the two people that you intended, but your plan is still the same if you do that whole creating that foundation and boundary for the child.
You would think that it's common sense, but obviously a lot of people, we've learned very quickly on social media that, it's not common sense for a lot of people. So
that's the insane part. Like, when they ask us, they're like, do you guys have boundaries, or do you feel uncomfortable doing this or that? Like, I don't know if people think that we sit down and just talk about your marriage with Mike all day long. Like, that was just like a common sense boundary that when we started becoming friends, we weren't going to sit there and be like, hey girl, tell me about your past.
I know.
Tell me everything.
It's just, just.
Like, how do you create a friendship out of that? Like, we already know if we sat down and did that, that would be awkward. That's going to make you uncomfortable. That's going to bring up past feelings that, it's going to be upsetting and hurt you. Common sense is to keep that where it's supposed to be, and then, like, have discussions that is going to help and benefit the family and us. That's a common sense boundary.
And, if we're all in a place now, which is what I've started saying on social media whenever people ask me about the divorce or whatever, we're in a good place now. Like, why do I want to keep, digging up the past and talking about it? Like, there's no way that I can talk about it without throwing him under the bus, and why would I want to do that? And I'm sure, obviously, if he were to talk about it, he'd throw me under the bus, and with the shitty stuff that I did too. Why are we going to keep opening those wounds? Yeah. Like, just let it go. We're in a good place now. It has nothing to do with, why we are the way that we are now. We're here to promote healthy co-parenting. We're not here to talk about why Mike and I got divorced.
Yeah.
But with that being said, so to touch back on that message, how soon do you think is too soon to call someone a stepmom?
Oh, God, we're doing that one today?
Is that a whole nother podcast? Or does that go with boundaries?
I don't know. Because I feel like I'm in such a different position to see that. I definitely think it is part of boundaries, because you don't just get to date someone with a child and just play mommy and daddy like that.
Until y'all break up.
Yeah, that's it's not a game. It's someone's life. It's a child that's involved. That's something that you definitely have to earn and establish. But I don't know.
So, speaking of boundaries, so for me, a huge thing that I'm sure a lot of mothers and fathers, when you guys separate and divorce, is I don't want, my child to be a revolving door for people, their dating life or whatever. So, that is a big fear. You don't want your kid being exposed and falling in love with all of these people, or, introducing someone into their life that's going to be like a negative whatever. People say that they should be married, and I could see that because it makes it more solid. But, I was talking to someone on Instagram about it today. What if you guys never get married? What if you guys have been together for 5 years and he's, still waiting to pop the question, are you considered a stepmom? Do you raise that child for 5 years?
That's a tough one. I told you that there was someone on TikTok who called herself, what was it? A SMIT, stepmother in training, because she said they weren't yet married, so she didn't want to be considered a stepmom, but she was in that child's life for so long, so she always said stepmother in training until they get married. But I told you, like, Mike and I didn't get married until we were together for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And Michael had long called me a stepmom way before then. I mean, I didn't think we were ever going to get married. So I don't think it's really like a marriage aspect. It's a matter of...
How long? It's like a timing thing, I think.
A timing thing. Also in combination of like truly like very quickly into the relationship with Mike and I. Like, I was the one who had to step into the whole mom mode and take care of Michael because, you know, it was new and he was so young and Mike didn't know everything or know exactly what to ask or what to do, and I was trying to, like, make sure he was taken care of and doing everything. And was I doing it right? Was I being good enough? Was I being too mean or too pushy or too kind or whatever, or being pushed over or whatnot? I think once you start into those moments of, like, truly, like, any mom would do of just, like, did he eat? Is he dressed? Do the clothes fit him? That you kind of get into that stepmom position. But the fact of, like, the title part, I don't think the first few years I ever even called myself a stepmom. I felt awkward using that title because specifically that word mom is there. And every single time someone who isn't that biological child's mother or father, like, you use that title, people see it as just, like, such a, like, ugh, don't call yourself that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think it's... Why does my hand smell weird? I don't think it's necessarily timing because, like, people have clearly stated on my TikTok, you know, you could be a half-ass stepmom and not put in the effort with the child, and I think it's all situational.
Yes.
You know, like, if you have a really strong bond, but then again, you could have a really strong bond with the kid and be doing all this stuff and only be together for 3 months, and are you that kid's stepmom? I don't think so. It's such a fine line. Like, it's so weird. For me personally, you know, when I was dating, okay, I wanted to be a stepmom. I was like, I want to date a man with a kid. I'd be such a good stepmom. Travis didn't have any kids, which is fine. But I always low-key wanted to be a stepmom because, you know, like I have said before, I adored my stepmom growing up. I know I'm going to be a cool-ass aunt, but of course none of my brothers have kids. Okay? I'm going to be a cool-ass something to someone else's kids. If someone would have a damn baby around me, okay? So, I don't know, like, I think it has to do, I think it is a little bit of a time and, you know, the child's personal relationship, because you never know. It's such a fine line.
And I think a lot of it also relies on, like, how the child feels, because if the child isn't connected and just sees that person, like, as a friend type of thing where they don't want to confide in them or they don't treat them like a parent, you can't force that person to be a stepmom because essentially the child isn't, I mean, it gets
the gray area.
Yeah, it's a gray area because if that child is seeing that parent like they would see their mom and dad, you know, they're running to them when they're scared at night and trying to, like, hold on to them. They're going to them when they have a problem. Like, that is what I would think a step-parent would be. And if that happens super quickly, like, that child is getting attached, that's scary for it to happen super quickly. But that means that child is so comfortable that it's, like, trusting that adult just like it would its mom and dad. Like, that is essentially how you're supposed to be with a child.
Mm-hmm. I saw someone today saying something along the lines of... basically what I told them was, she was like, oh, well, you know, she's not a stepmom, whatever, you know, she said if the kid doesn't think that she's a stepmom, then she's not a stepmom. And I said, not necessarily, and I'm going to tell you why. Because, I don't know the situation of this person who commented, but on the mom side, you know, the kids, especially in divorce homes, they always feel like they owe their loyalty to either their moms or their dads, you know, and to put your kids in that situation is horrible. Naturally, they're going to gravitate towards their mom or dad, but you should, you know, have them, you know, try to form a relationship with the stepmom. So what I said was, you know, we don't know if the child, you know, is afraid to form a relationship with the stepmom because they feel guilty, because they feel like their loyalty lies with their mom. But if the stepmom is clothing the kid, cooking for the kid, being there emotionally, mentally, physically for the kid, talking to the kid, talking about their hopes and dreams, putting them to bed every single night, taking them to school, doing homework, you know, doing literally everything that a mother does, whether that kid is attached or not, that she's a mother, you know, because there are going to be times where my kid's 16 years old and he wants nothing to do with me.
Yeah, that
and he doesn't like me. Doesn't mean I'm not a mother. You know, I mean, my mom is my mom. She gave birth to me. I don't talk to my mom. She's still my mom.
Yeah.
You know, her and I don't, and there was plenty of times growing up that I freaking hated her and wished she wasn't my mom, but she still did everything for me. She's still my mom. Like, what do we define as a mom? And we had the conversation a little while ago, you know, about foster moms and people who use surrogates and adopted moms. Like, they're moms in society's eyes, but it's so weird with stepmoms because stepmoms do the exact same thing, but y'all are moms.
It's because the mom is still present. They make it seem like it's just one title and only one person gets it, and if someone already has it, like, that's it. You can't use it either.
That's so messed up.
And it's just, it's such
how it works.
Hard thing to, I know everyone's situation is completely different, but at the end of the day, you have to step back and just know that everyone's trying to do what's best for the child. And even when people say it, they're like, what was it that someone said? Oh, they always ask, how does the child feel about it? How does the child feel about it? And I was telling you earlier how, you know, people say, you know, if Michael is upset with me because I grounded him, oh, that's being, you know, a step-parent. It's not a real parent. He doesn't like you. But if his mom also grounded him, he would also be upset with her. Like, it's what a child would do with any parent. You're just seeing the fact that there's step before the mom in my title, and then just assume that it's because I'm not a real parent that he's mad. Like, you kind of have to, like, really take things into perspective and just remember this is all complicated in general. Like, it's just a weird...
Expand your mind just a little bit. Let's think outside of the box just a little bit. Instead of just looking things very narrow, let's, you know, expand just a little bit.
And even on the topic of boundaries, like, yes, you're the mom and you have, you know, that little bubble that you have that you're the mom and they're your babies and you gave birth to you. But your boundaries are going to be pushed a little bit when now... because you are divorced, you have to give a little bit. You can't just hold on to everything and be like, but I'm the mom. Like, this is only my title. Like, you did the divorce, whether or not you wanted it. You have to kind of change your boundaries and change everything because it's a whole different aspect.
Well, everything's always changing all the time. Whether you like it or not, your children are getting older. You're going to have to change and grow with them. And like you said, I mean, you guys were the ones who decided to get married. You guys were the ones who decided to have a kid. It's not just your kid. If the dad is actively present in his life, or, you know, because, you know, some of these moms be getting full custody and the dad wants to be in their lives, but they won't let it happen, that is his child too.
Yeah.
And if he decides to get married, you have no right to be like, well, you know, he moved on too fast, or he got married. I wasn't ready for him to get married. It's none of your business. I'm sorry, but...
yeah.
You focus on your... Like, once you guys got divorced, that door closed, honey. Like, you gotta, you know... get over it.
Yeah. And even trying to make it seem like the ex-wife will never be like a mom or a parent to the child. Like, if they're married and they have a household and that parent has that child for a certain amount of time, like, what about her boundaries when she's with the kids? Do you just want, like, her to like, give a plate of food to the child and just be like, until your mother comes home?
Yeah.
Like, that's just so weird because then now you put her in a spot where it's like, what do the step-parents do? Like, how I can only form my boundaries from what you allow me to basically for them, because I can't create anything without you coming in and smashing it if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's not me. That's not me. She's not saying me. She's saying hypothetical me, not me.
Hypothetical you. Yes, creating the boundaries of, okay, I have this child in front of me who is not my biological child. What do I do with it? Do I love it? Do I care for it? Okay, I have the boundary for where I care for it. And when you care for it and love a child, your feelings get, you know, involved. So when you have someone else who's going to come in and be like, you're not a real parent, you're not a real mom, is that going to go ahead and ruin my feelings, or like how I'm looking at the child and being like, what do I do now?
It's just so funny because those same people, those bitter bio moms and bitter bio dads will get remarried and they'll expect their spouse to step up in a role to help take care of the kids. And then two, if let's say, you know, the stepmom gets pregnant and they have a baby of their own, if you're not treating the kids the exact same, it's, oh, she's favoring her baby, but also you won't let her parent your child.
Yes.
But you expect them to be treated, like, it make sense, guys. It doesn't. Like, you have to, it's either one or the other. You can't have it both ways.
And if it is a concern where, you know, a lot of these moms always say that they're scared of, any type of conflict or any type of agreement, then sit down and discuss it.
Like adults.
We were, lucky enough that we really didn't need to sit down and talk about boundaries because it was already, I feel like our boundaries was already established before we even met. Like, I had no intentions of, taking your mom title. I had no intentions of, like, trying to make your life difficult or trying to, pin Michael against you. Like, my boundaries were just set to be a good stepmom, make sure he stays alive, and make sure, he goes back to you with, nothing negative to say about me. And then if these moms are scared, sit down and have the discussions. If you do feel like boundaries need to be set up and you need to make sure that she's not forcing the child to call them mom if they don't feel comfortable, then have the discussion. Then make it happen.
Yeah, personally, I don't think anyone should force any kid to call anyone anything.
No.
If your child's comfortable with it, like me, like I love my stepmom, I've said that a million times. Ashley, if you're watching, hey girl. Love her. She is, I do consider her a mom. Mm-hmm. I still call her by her first name.
Girl, I told you the same thing with me.
Yeah.
Like, I love my stepmom, but to even try to call her mom is just so weird to me because I never did it growing up. Mm-hmm. And then, turn it around to when Michael was like 4 or 5 and he would say mom to me and I was like, ugh. Like, I just didn't want to upset anyone, but like, I know he's so much younger, so like, those words like are meaningful to him. And I feel like to me, I just have called my mom for so long that I don't see her with any other name, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think that you should force the child to call me. If they feel like it, that's great. But also, if you've only been with the dad for, 3 months and you guys are dating, don't be telling the kid, like, hey, I'm your new mom. Like, girl, you're not.
That's a common sense boundary.
That's a common sense boundary. Those are the things that we're talking about. Like, don't be manipulating the child. Be like, oh, I'm going to be your new mom. Girl, you are not.
Yes, especially if you haven't even actually met the mom.
Yes.
Don't try to give yourself the title. If the child is saying that, maybe talk. Because I've had people say that. They're like, well, my stepchild or whatever calls me mom. I don't know what to do. And it's like, you need to talk to the dad about that or the actual parent about that. Mm-hmm. Because if this is a situation where you haven't even met the other biological parent and they hear that and it's coming from the child and
it's going to hurt a lot more.
Yes, it's going to bother them. So that should be a discussion that you're having. Maybe the child doesn't understand what they're saying or what they're doing. Like, just have the discussion so it doesn't come up and hurt her, because that's just going to close any type of talk that you can even have in the possibility if she thinks, oh, she's playing mom over there.
And it could easily look like, wow, she's forcing my child to call her mom.
Yes, because especially if they try to encourage it or they don't stop it and whatnot. Because I know when Michael used to say it, earlier and stuff, we always emphasize. We're like, you do have a mommy, and like,
or
I'm
you can
Tiffany,
say, I'm like a mom. Or I do a lot of things like your mom.
Yeah.
But you have a mom,
I think that's where we got the title, the unspoken title of stepmom. Like, in the relationship with Michael would say mom, and I'm like, no, I'm like a stepmom. Because Michael did get to meet my stepmom, so he knew I had 2 moms.
Yeah, and he knew Ashley was my stepmom too.
Okay, so he knew us stepmom, so whenever he did, bring up, like, mom thing, and it was still something that, like, still made me uncomfortable personally, so when he said it, I didn't really like it. I didn't want to, like, tell him that I didn't like it, but it just felt weird because we didn't talk at that point. Where I would tell Michael, like, you have a mommy, like, your mommy's at home, and I'm like a stepmommy, like, I'm, trying to explain the dynamic without just really confusing him, because I didn't want him to feel embarrassed that he was saying it, but we didn't meet, so it wasn't something that I was like, oh, heck no, I do not need him going back to the house and being like, I did this with my other mommy, and just, like, create that, like...
Yes. Yeah, I think a lot of time, and again... unspoken boundaries, like, it's common sense.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't have common sense, so I feel bad saying that. But...
yes. And with boundaries, you honestly have to take a step back and think about the other person. I think that's how, I know that's how I set up a lot of my personal boundaries. It's always thinking, like, how are you going to feel about it? How is it going to affect you? How is it going to affect me? And, like, the whole, what were we talking about? Oh, the whole, like, if we ever had, like, an emergency situation where Michael was in the hospital or something dire. Like, is any life-changing decisions gonna hurt me more, or is it gonna hurt you more? So if it's gonna hurt you more, that's when I need to know to step back and be like, this is not my place or my time to say anything. Because that's a common sense boundary. If it's a decision with the child that's super critical, super, an emergency hospital type situation, you have to think about that because that's going to weigh on your heart a lot more. That's going to weigh on me. Like, yes, it's going to weigh on me still because I've had Michael so much in my life, but he's your baby that came out of your
vagine.
Yeah. So, you know, really remembering that and just considering the other person when you're setting up your boundaries. Like, how would you feel if it was you?
I think it's just a consideration and respect. I mean, in order to gain respect, you have to show respect.
Yes.
And I think that's a lot of these people just assume, like, you should just walk in getting respect, and that's not how it is. Like, you have to, one, have an open heart. Don't walk in there feeling all some type of way and then get upset when, you know, because vibes, people, vibes.
Vibes.
And, you know, you earn respect by giving respect.
100%.
So, an example, you know, what we're doing for Halloween. You know, we just moved to a neighborhood, beautiful neighborhood, that we could easily, you know, walk around in for Halloween. My husband was really looking forward to doing our first Halloween in our house. Tiffany expressed, you know, not wanting to go trick-or-treating in her neighborhood. So they have Michael this year. We both want to have the kids together. We all want to have the kids together. Mm-hmm. So they compromised and we're like, well, why don't we go to the boys' school and trick-or-treat there? Because, again, it's a nice neighborhood.
Yes.
You know, it's right in the middle of us. So Travis was like, oh, well, you know, why don't we just... Not trying to throw him under the bus or anything. He was really just like, you know... saying, you know, he didn't understand why we couldn't just do it in our neighborhood, you know, if it's so we don't have to find parking, we can just park at our house, and it's nice over there, and yada yada. It'd be easier on him because he has to work in the morning and whatever. And again, I was like, you know, boundaries. I'm not going to pull that card and, you know, really, I mean, I'll ask why, you know, we are doing it in the middle. I'll bring up the fact that you do want to do it, but I'm not gonna, you know, it's their year, you know, we are doing it together, and I'm not going to be like, well, you know, I think we should do it over here. I'll find out why, and if she wants to do it over there, then we're going to do it over there next year, you know, when we have the upper hand, you know, not upper hand, when it's our year, you know.
We have the upper hand.
We'll do it at our house, and if they don't want to drive over there, you know, I mean, we'll do something with the kids or whatever, but, you know, it's meeting in the middle, having respect, setting that boundary of, you know.
And it's also being able, why can't I speak today? Being able to, and willing to discuss things, because...
Yes, I could have easily just been like, well, they don't want to, and not talked about it.
And, I mean, I told you I would talk to Mike about it, and I haven't had a chance, even though I'm sure you can hear me. Talking about just being able to discuss things, and that's the biggest things with anything, not just boundaries, with literally anything, to have...
The man can't hear anything, he's deaf.
That's true, you're right. That's true. The one time you could probably hear.
I know.
Just being able to talk about things and discuss things, to have that healthy relationship in general. I mean, when people ask us time and time again, how do you have healthy co-parenting? We don't have a book that just gives us all the answers, and we don't always agree and see eye to eye on things, but we talk about things. And sometimes, you know, one person does get one way, one person gets another way, and sometimes it's a compromise where both of us lose a little. It's about discussion, and that's what's going to help you, and that's what's going to keep your little... I don't know why I think of boundaries as like a little bubble, but for me it's like a little bubble. Like when you get like too close and you're like impeding in people's boundaries, you're impeding in someone's bubble, and you want your bubble to be good, but you also want the other person's bubble to be good, because if your bubble is popped, I know you gonna come for me, and I don't want my bubble to be popped either.
No, I mean, it's that, you know, trust, too, that I can come to you and you're not going to freak out or, you know, get upset that I'm trying to, you know, mess with your plans or whatever, but we just have, like, a very...
Girl, you know I got no plans.
Girl, I know you got no plans.
So rude. I was waiting for you to be like, yes, you do.
No, but you're right. We just... the relationship is very, you know, mature. I'm very happy where we are. You know, we both just have a very healthy head on our shoulders, and you guys can get there too. It just, you guys all have to want it. So with that being said, if you guys have any other podcast topics you'd like to talk about, I can't say link them below. I guess follow us on Instagram and message us. We do try to keep a box up at some point during the week on our stories to get suggestions from you guys. We do love giving our opinions. We got them. It doesn't have to be co-parenting.
And you may not want them, but we got them.
We probably shouldn't be giving advice, but we would love more topic ideas from you guys. If you guys aren't already following us on Instagram, it's Moms of Tampa. YouTube, it's Moms of Tampa. TikTok, it's Moms of Tampa. And then my account is Moms of Tampa #2. It's just Moms of Tampa 2. Pretty much every social media, it's Moms of Tampa, besides the TikToks where we have the 2 separate ones. Follow us there and let us know. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening if you've made it this far. I know this was a long one.
It was, but hopefully it does help you guys see a different perspective. I'm sure we butchered plenty of words because I can't speak today, but...
You definitely said ex-wife when you meant to say stepmom one time, but that's fine.
I love that for me. But I hope you guys did get, a little bit of insight on both sides, being that, we do have the 2 different views on things, and it's a very collective decision of just us wanting the best for everyone.
Yes.
Making sure you're respectful to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah,
whether you're a stepmom or a bio mom, I hope that this does help maybe change your viewpoints even a little bit in the positive, or if you know someone who needs to hear this, a friend, a coworker, or whatever, you can just casually share it over there.
Yes, definitely.
Anything, even if we helped you, we get messages all the time from people saying that we've changed their viewpoints and they didn't think of it like that. And again, when I was 18 through 22, I wasn't thinking the same way that I'm thinking now. I had to completely rewire my brain, and it can happen. It takes time. So I'm glad we can help if we did. If you guys just listen to us because we're funny, we know.
You're welcome. No, I'm just kidding. All right, thank you guys so much, and we will see you on the next one. Bye. Bye.